Hello there. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to come your way this very beautiful Monday morning. It's such a great day to be alive, and it's such an opportunity today to experience another day. Many started the year, but they are nowhere today. But by His grace and by His mercies, He has kept us. And so we are so grateful to God. And I want to say a big thank you to every single person joining me live. Thank you so much for a share of your time. And to everyone that will watch thereafter, again, I say a big thank you. So, like the video, share it, let someone out there know that there is something out there called Knocks to Nugget. The totality of a purpose is to help you become your best self. And I know you have it in you to be your best. So this year has been fantastic. It's been an amazing year. And we started off the year with, last week, Monday, with Reverend Max Benije coming into the studio to talk to us about starting the year right. And what he said covered practically every single aspect of life. And he said for us to start it right, we must think right. And your thoughts are governed by your knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And there's something that is so instructive there. The question is, what are you hearing? As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. But your thoughts come from the gates of your life, which number one gate is your ears. What are you listening to? Who are you hanging around? Who is speaking into your life? These things matter as we come into the year 2023. We are already in the year, and the year is fast running off. So, question: who are you hanging around? What are you hearing? It really matters. Don't think that you have it all together. You don't if you are hanging around the wrong people, because whatever you hear will seep into your mind and form a mindset. As you think, so you are. What are you hearing? And without understanding, it made it very clear that knowledge and wisdom is a waste. And so it laid the foundation so well for us to have a beautiful year. Starting it right starts with what you hear, what you think. You're a product of your thoughts. So, having gone through the general bit, we want to go specific. And today, we want to talk about career. How do you start it right in your career? And my guest today is a global HR expert with several years, decades in providing consulting, advisory services, and learning interventions across different industries. He has at different stages led and been directly involved in strategic engagement projects. He is not new to us here. He's been here before. I think he's been here twice and is back here again. So help me receive today my brother and friend, Babatunde Bamgboye. Hey, good to have you in the house today.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Ma, for having me again. And I
Yes,
trust.
Happy New Year again.
Happy
But the
New
year is
Year.
running. Today is already 9, and a lot of offices are resuming today. Tunde, I'm going to just throw it at you and let you take a go at it. How do you start it right in our career? So yes, we've gone through appraisals. Some appraisals are very good, some were not so good. But another year is an opportunity to start it right again. So over to you, Tunde. How do we start it right in our career?
Yes, thank you very much. Ma. I think, like never before, um, uh, people need to begin to start to think outside the box. Reason
Mm,
being that you need to think about the context of how a lot of our organizations are situated. For
mm,
instance, once upon a time there was this acronym, excuse me, that was used to sort of describe the global economy, which was called VUCA. And
Mm.
I mean, it was fantastic from the 1980s down to pre-COVID. But now a lot of people are saying that that has changed, and they've called it banning. Bani meaning B for brittle, A for anxiety or anxious, N for non-linear, and of course I for incomprehensible. So I'll say it again: B for brittle. That today's global economy and today's what's happening in today's business space across industry lines is really, really brittle. And by the time you think about it post COVID, we once upon a time, um, industry lines that never could be touched have completely gone. There's a lot of anxiety. A lot of people are really anxious because we're living in a time of uncertainty. People really do not understand where they are. There's been a lot of right sizing and a lot of and all of that. And of course, one of the things that sort of that's important. The reason why I'm laying this context is because it's important for us to begin to develop the kind of skill sets, and I heard you say mindset required for us to rise in today's global economy, and that is non-linear. And that's to let you understand that in terms of your career, starting your career right, you need to understand that your career may not necessarily be linear. And that is because today's global context is non-linear.
Mm. Today's global context is non-linear. Linear. So, are we losing you there? Hello, Tunde. Are you still there with us? Network had better behave today. I think his network is playing a fast one, but he'll be back shortly. So while we're waiting for him to come back, he started off with something that is very, very strong. He said it's brittle. Hmm. How true it is. Very, very true. Yeah, you are back. Thank you. So you were talking about being non-linear.
Yes, I was looking at that. It's non-linear, and that's because we may put a lot of effort, right? Not it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the exact result. There's going to be a lot of disproportion. And the reason
Hmm.
why I'm saying that is that in terms of starting your career right, I want you to think about the rock wall. Now, I was listening to the global CHRO of a global conglomerate. I know she was talking about the rock wall. So for those of us who like or think about mountain climbing, for you to prepare to climb a mountain, there's actually this simulation called the rock wall. And when you think about the rock wall has different holes in which you're supposed to climb. And the truth about the matter is that the traditional thinking of career progress is to go across a ladder. So when you think about the traditional ladder, it only goes up or down. But when you think about the rock wall is really not about up or down. There's a lot of lateral movement, which simply means that sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go up. Sometimes you need to go sideways. So sometimes you're thinking about promotion to another leadership role, but what you probably really need is the opportunities is most likely sideways. And so in your
Hmm.
career progress, one of the things that you need to really think about in terms of a mindset to which banning, in terms of the acronym, begins to paint is this a mindset of resilience and being tenacious, resilience, and develop a lot of tenacity because sometimes there's really no room at the top. And the reason being that is that a lot of organizations really do not have the resources to sort of finance those people at the top. So sometimes the opportunities are sideways. So you need to also understand that I don't necessarily have to go up to have a sense of progress. Sometimes I need to move sideways. And sideways is such a really important thinking because the truth about the matter is that when you think about sideways, it stems out from the fact that you need to understand. And I know that this saying is consistent. This saying is really popular. Is really understanding your why. Because when you start out your career, that concept of your why, your purpose becomes important. Because out stemming out of your why are your strengths. Because when you understand that your career progress is not necessarily a stepwise thing that is going through the purported career ladder that you sometimes need to go sideways, then you know how to sort of utilize your strength, right, in actually projecting who you are out there. And I think that's a very, very important statement. All right. So for me, one of the things that also caught me when I was thinking about this issue of the rock wall was that I remember a very good friend of mine. I was coaching her. She was the COO of a particular dairy organization, very popular dairy organization. And I remember she started in finance and she now goes into an agro allied product organization. And one of the things that she truly wanted to do was that she really wanted to teach. She wanted to be a facilitator. So it's really not a career progression. She had to move sideways.
Mm.
And right now, she has stopped being a CEO and she has gone back to, she's in Lagos Business School doing her PhD right now, sort of preparing her. So again, when you're thinking about your career progression and you're thinking about your why for 2023, it's important to begin to understand what's your own big picture, your own career vision that is essential to your own self fulfillment. You know, when you think about Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of need, you know, we have this issue about self actualization, which simply means that success, career success, is relative. Answering that question in 2023, which is your why, becomes important. So you begin to understand, what strength do I need? So it means that sometimes you probably need to sort of segue or move to a side simply because your sense of well-being, your sense of progress and success does not necessarily mean that you move to the next leadership level. Sometimes it simply means that maybe you were in corporate finance and your true passion, where you feel that your sense of well-being, your sense of self-actualization may need to be in technology, which means that you probably may have to take a pay cut. Is answering that question why in 2023 that's important. And the reason why I'm stating that, if you're looking at Barney, if you don't have a sense of purpose and sense of direction, the obstacle, the way in which you are going in terms of your career progress could be the obstacle. You know, Ryan Holiday wrote a book about the obstacle is the way, right? The obstacle could be your career way. You're trying to be like every other person. You're trying to become the CEO of an organization, maybe in a particular industry, i.e., finance. But what really gives you a sense of fulfillment, a sense of career success, a sense of progress on this rock wall may necessarily be, maybe something in technology. So
Mm.
this is very important. So we have seen the context. So we've seen Barney, brittle, there's a lot of anxiety, it's non-linear, there's no cause and effect, right? Sometimes a lot of things are going to be disproportionate, which means that you need to develop resilience, you need to be very tenacious, which simply means that you may be working for an organization and you truly feel that you have a lot to contribute, but at this particular level of your career life, there may not be any promotion. There necessarily may not be any room at the top. So you need to develop resilience. Then the last one of the I or Barney is incomprehensible, and which simply means that, listen, a lot of information coming in may be a problem for you. So you need to develop another skill about understanding the signals and developing what is referred to as intuition. Understand what is happening within your industry or the industry to which you feel that you have the greatest sense of fulfillment or career success. Then the question therefore will be, what is happening within that space? So look at those skill set, the kind of thinking. You need to develop resilience, you need to be tenacious, which is very, very important. All right. And when I think about tenacity, I think about the bulldog, which is the only animal that, or one of the only animals that can hold on to something and still breathe at the same time. So
Mm.
again, learn to breathe in 2023, because there's going to be a lot of shocks. There's going to be a lot. I think about what happened in cryptocurrency in the latter part of quarter four. Look at just what happened, where I mean, monies globally just went down simply because of one man's. It's incomprehensible. is disproportionate. You have put all the effort, you understand all the signals, but guess what? Things happen,
mm,
right? So you have to be able to learn how to breathe and understand that the competition really is not with any other person. The competition is with your own well-being. The competition is not with an individual. The competition is your own well-being. That is, where do I feel I can actually move my strength that can do the greatest good? Your own well-being. Well-being being the peace of mind that is required.
mm,
And this is key. Another thing, a key thing that I feel that is important for people to develop is this concept by Carol Dweck. She's a psychologist. She calls it growth mindset. And I think it's a very important concept. And I think I mentioned it here the last time. I think it's so important in today's global economy is that there has to be a balance between the destination in terms of your career goal and the journey, the destination and the journey. And this gives a lot of credence to what I was talking about, that really there is a lot of things that are going to be disproportionate. It's really not linear. So remember, your career journey is not going to be linear. So breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe simply means that sometimes you just need to sort of pause and ask yourself, okay, this is what I truly want to be. Do I really want to be the MD of this organization, or do I want to disrupt what is going on within this market?
mm,
Do I want to be a GM or EGM simply because I have the perks or have bills to pay, or do I truly want to make a difference? Breathe. All right,
mm,
because there's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of financial pressure, because it's a particular taste lifestyle that you most likely have, and you probably want to maintain it or you want to attain it. Either way, you need to understand that the journey really is the balance between your destination and the journey. And I think this is so important, right? So another key thing I believe that I think it's important that you need to think about is this issue of growth mindset.
mm,
Last year, late last year, I was asking the question. I said, I met a senior vice president of a telecommunication, and so I was doing a team bonding exercise for his someone at Lakwe for his team. And so I was speaking with him because I had sort of met him somewhere else for another telco. And I was asking him that, okay, can you tell me in terms of your own career, what have you learned and things that has helped you to become who you are and what you are today? And do you know that one of the things that he said that I think it's important that everybody must develop, and I'm going to sort of lump everything together, is this thing about mindfulness. Mindfulness. And I think this is important for every one of us, especially in corporate Nigeria today. So, what does mindfulness mean? This is from Ellen Langer. So, mindfulness really is, again, is about well-being and peace of mind, but it's also about what I refer to as, well, it's not mind, emotional agility. And I know that Benga Tutor sort of spoke to this. And emotional agility really is the ability for you to, if something happens now to you, something negative, accept it as one option. Don't begin to think about the past, because you can't move on to destiny by looking at your rearview mirror, right?
mm,
Don't say that, oh, somebody's chasing me from the village, or you are trying to connect the dot. Take it as an event happening now. Take it as an event happening now. So for him, he doesn't carry any form of bitterness or grudge. So if he meets a boss and somebody says something negative to him, or he has an issue with the person, what he simply says that he's mindful. He's cautious of his own mental well-being, and simply says to this other individual that this guy is most likely having a bad day, and I'm not going to take it to heart. In other words, it's just water running off someone's back. And I found that his thought really interesting. Again, mindfulness, another thing that I also discovered about him that sort of fast tracked is this issue of boldness. So
mm,
I was reading somewhere the other day of a man called Joseph Plumeri. He's the CEO and chairman of the Willis Group Holding. When he started his career, he started as a lawyer, and he wanted to balance out the practical side of his course with um, doing something with the practical side by doing a part-time job. So he went to one of the largest, I think the third largest law firm, right? And when he went to this, I want to have a job. And when he got this, I'm going to have a job. And he directed him to one of the partners. And the partner, when he got there, he said a lot of funny things, and the partner didn't know what to start a job, right? So whilst he was learning law or going through the law school, he was doing the part-time job, by the way, was getting coffee for all of this the senior staff and all of that. But the person that he was working with, the person he was working with, guess what, was the foremost businessman who eventually would found Citigroup and another company called Primerica, Traveler Primerica, to which this guy eventually becomes the CEO. So this is the point I'm saying. One of the things I learned from this particular senior exec is boldness.
Mm.
In 2023, be bold, right? Ask the questions, go to that network event, meet the individual that you think is it's important in your career journey. Be bold. Now look at the career journey of this man called Joseph Clovery, right? He was bold. He took a step. So I say to everyone, right, in 2023, be bold. Take a step. Take a step could simply mean that meet your boss. If probably you feel that you need a pay rise is justified. Maybe you need more assignments. Maybe you need to ask your boss. I said, you know what, sir? Question: what can I do to assist you to ensure to lighten your load? Be bold. So 2023, and this is what the guy said. He was bold, and because he was bold, he had his seat at the table. So when he started out his career, funny enough, this man Zek also started as a lawyer, right? And he ended up leading one of the largest strategic business units of this telco in a telecoms capacity. So now he has moved from being a lawyer to become a technology enthusiast and expert, simply because he was bold and he had a seat at the table. So for everybody,
Mm.
I want you to think about it. Be bold, because in this context of banning, organizations are looking for people who are, number one, think outside the box, who are also going to be bold. And I think that's very important for what I feel that is key, like never before. Another key thing that I feel that is important for all of us in 2023 is to disrupt yourself.
Mm.
Disrupt yourself. Think about your comfort zone and ask yourself, listen, what do I need to do differently? But see, you really will not answer the question if you have truly not looked at your why, your purpose, what success truly means to you. When you can answer that question on why, I think Simon Sinek speaks about your what and your how. I think it's such an important question for you to ask yourself. And your why simply means that what do I truly want on this career journey? Is to clarify who you are and what you truly need to become the person you want to be. That is what I'm saying the question why is. Right. And I think that is so key. Okay, it's so key. And so when you have that at the back of your mind, the truth about the matter is that you're willing to take bold steps, and you're going to disrupt yourself. And when you disrupt yourself, it simply means that maybe you're finding that certain aspects of your life vis-a-vis the kind of person you truly want to be. Then remember when I talked about the rock wall, probably you need to sort of rather go up, maybe you need to go down, maybe you
Mm.
need to go sideways.
Wow.
You understand? And maybe just, you know what? I really don't want to work in finance anymore. I really want to go into education. So I had a friend, she was doing very well in one of the leading banks, and she decided to go into she wanted to become a teacher. So imagine she becomes one of the leading schools, the Ivy League schools in Lagos. She becomes, I think, a third teacher in the class and all of that. And now she was able to save enough money. She's in the UK right now and relocated, and she's teaching.
Mm.
She's teaching. She's teaching. So what she has done, she has disrupted herself, and she has disrupted herself and rebranded herself. To rebrand herself now, she has come up with a new narrative. She has said to herself, i.e., Yomi Ute is XYZ. I am an educationist. Everybody knew her and she's reintroducing herself. Could it be that a lot of us need to reintroduce ourselves again? Think about the rock wall. Could it be that we need to reintroduce ourselves because you've really done self-assessment and you're found out that this is where your strength is? So let's do a quick recap of all the things that I've said.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot I want to say, but let's take a breather.
Yeah.
Recap. We're in Bani, and I want you to think about it. When you think about Bani, then you understand that, listen, there are a lot of demands on our organizations today. And in that, you need to begin to know the kind of mindsets you need to develop. So it's brittle. So you need to develop a lot of resilience. There's a lot of anxiety. So you need to be able to develop a lot of emotional intelligence. Three, remember, is non-linear. So that means that you may put a lot of effort and yet not get the similar result. It means that you may have gone to school, done your MBA, you're doing so much, yet the organization does not recognize you. Then the last one is incomprehensible. And I think this is also key. I also mentioned that you need to disrupt yourself. Maybe you need to sort of, change your narrative as a result of the rock wall. You need to sort of, sometimes the career ladder doesn't take you up. You need to sort of move sideways, or sometimes you need to move down. You need to understand your why, and in the context of your why, know how to sort of apportion your strength to solve some of the problems of the organization or what you truly need to do. I also spoke about success is also relative, right?
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what's your career success, which is relative to your why. And I
Mm.
mentioned this issue about as disruption and, of course, changing your own narrative. So let's take a breather.
Wow, 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 wow. You have said so much. I just kept writing and writing and writing. But you have challenged everyone. I'm sure for everybody who is on this call and for those that will watch after, you have a lot to chew already. We're going to take this breather. And this breather will actually be a stop on this episode to allow all of us sit down, chew on it, think about it very well. Because as we start the second quarter, Tunde, I'm going to bring you back again still on this. You know why? I'm going to allow us chew on this in this first quarter, see what we have done with it, and in the second quarter, we'll come back and appraise ourselves on this. So he told me about Bani. We have moved from VUCA to Bani. He told me it's going to be brittle. There'll be a lot of anxiety in the air. It's going to be non-linear, and many things will be incomprehensible. And he told me what to do. What have I done? And they're going to be comparing what we have done in the first quarter and then how do we push it forward in the second quarter. Because truth is this, and you are so true, we need to disrupt ourselves. There's no story. You can't keep going the same way and expect a different result. You have got something you said, and we'll take you on in the next episode in the second quarter of this year. You said something, and I actually had to write it down. You might need to reintroduce yourself. When you have discovered yourself, you might need to reintroduce yourself. Thank you so much, Tunde. You said so much today. We won't take questions. We're going to pause on this and come back to it in the next quarter as we look at what we have done with it. So thank you so, so much, Tunde, for being on this call. Thank you for adding so much value to all of us, and we are indeed very grateful. Like Patricia said, and everybody is saying the same thing. Thank you so much for always adding value to us. Like I will always say, we are coming back, and that very shortly. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Tunde.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was so much to chew on. And I had to allow him take that breather and promise that we are going to come back to it in the next quarter when we'll have looked at what we have done with ourselves in this first quarter. The truth of this is it, if we don't keep reviewing and keep checking and keep reviewing and keep checking, we'll never be our best self. And my prayer and my hope and my trust that we'll all come to December 2023 excited at the results we have gotten. And what is said actually cuts across, whether you're in the career or you're even in the business field. You have got to learn to disrupt yourself. discover who you are and discover yourself unapologetically. You need to learn to do that. And coming up next Monday, it's still on this issue of starting the year right. So we've talked general, we've talked career. Next week we're going to be talking business, and I'm going to be having another guest in the house, and that is Omorui. Is going to be in the house talking about starting it right in business, and I'm sure he has a lot of value to bring to the table that you don't want to miss. This quarter is loaded, even if I'm the one saying it, because there's so much I know and I'm not letting the cat all out of the bag. You want to be. And in this quarter, we'll be taking a series also that talks about swimming with the sharks and not get eaten. Swimming with the sharks. We're going to get into that series. There are certain things we need to know about certain industries because we've got to swim with the sharks in this year. Dear, what people have hitherto said is impossible, because if you can think it, you can be it, and you can have it. Like I always say, please like this video, share it, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let everybody around you know that there is Knocks to Nuggets on the air. And until I come your way next week in another edition of Knocks to Nuggets, remember, together we win. God bless you. Thank you so much for being with me. And thank you to everyone that watched thereafter. Let's keep adding value one to another. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the week. Bye for now.